What has happened here? It's not just a mound of rubble, it's people's homes. This is where they were when the earthquake struck, 7.8 on the scale. They had no chance, this building collapsing like a house of cards.
The top stories live from the Sky News City studio. AstraZeneca shares jumped by 4% despite news of a drop in quarterly revenues. The mistake by Google's chatbot Bard wipes more than £80 billion from the value of its owner Alphabet. A big shake-up at Disney as the entertainment giant announces it's cutting 7,000 jobs. And we'll be speaking with British American Tobacco as the company delivers strong results and says its smoke-free products are close to profit. Good morning, this is Ian King live, an hour of business and economic news from the heart of the city. Well, shares of AstraZeneca have jumped by more than 4% this morning, up 5% now in fact. And that's despite news of a 7% drop in revenues during the final 3 months of last year as sales of its COVID-19 vaccine fell away. However, stripping out the COVID vaccine, AstraZeneca's sales rose by 17% during the quarter, while for the year as a whole they were up by 19%. The second largest company in the FTSE 100 reported a full-year operating profit of $3.8 billion. That was up from 1% in 2021. Well, joining me now is Neil Shah. He's Director of Research at Edison Group. Neil, welcome to you. I mean, one of the big things that jumped out at me was that in the latest quarter, the cancer treatments, which have obviously been blockbusters for them, were slightly lower than expectations. But the market's just seen through this.
I think the bigger picture is that I think people they've been upgrading guidance all the way through 2022. I think the fact that they've actually come in on the profitability side's, been a focus because Pascal's done a great job in terms of turning around Astra, but it's yet to turn into this sort of upgrade story. So margins are a big focus, and I think that's why the stock's reacting the way it is.
Yes.
And then I think, the return effectively off the sort of cancer growth, the biggest sort of number is the double-digit growth that you're seeing. So rather than it's a slight miss for Q4 on the revenue side, I think that's been outweighed by the profitability.
Yeah, I mean, Tagrisso, the lung cancer treatment, I mean, this is still a spectacular product that, I mean, sales up 9%, I think, for the year as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the thing for me that's interesting is that they have been outperforming a lot of their sort of pharma competition from a share price performance. There's this big pipeline that they've been building in terms of drug development. That's the future growth of the business. There's been a little bit of a lag this year in terms of, the start of 2023. It's the share price performance has lagged. I mean, it's coming back today. And a lot of that was attributed to the fact that, this key lung cancer drug that they're developing, the results have been delayed. So a lot of things to look forward to. And the core portfolio seems to be doing really well.
Yeah, you mentioned the pipeline. I mean, they've got 30 products coming up for phase 3 trials next year, which, I mean, for those who don't know about these things, that is pretty spectacular, isn't it? Yeah,
it's a really big pipeline. And within that 30, 10 of them have got potential to deliver, plus $1 billion worth of peak sales. So, it's where the future growth is, and there's quite a lot of focus on that.
Now, China, obviously, they were down 9% during the year. How big an event for AstraZeneca is China's reopening going to be?
Well, I think it was something that I picked out from the statement, which is China is returning to growth, so the reopening is happening. I happened to be talking to a fund manager who's based in Hong Kong last week, and he's confident that actually this is an orderly opening, that China is starting to pick up again. So I think that that's the potential for surprise, the upside surprise effectively for 2023. So the guidance that they've given is sort of 8 to 12% EPS revenue growth for 2023. I think a lot of analysts are taking reassurance from that, but there's potential upside coming from, surprises from places like China.
I mean, how would you rate it relative to its peers right now? I mean, you touched on that earlier on.
So I think that, it's done really, really well from a share price performance. I had a look at the sort of 3-year chart before I came here, and it's outstripped everyone. GSK, Pfizer, the European sort of healthcare companies. So it's done really well from that side of things. I think that the key is going to be the delivery of these phase 3 trials. So potentially another really exciting year ahead for Astra.
You mentioned Pascal Soriot, the CEO there. I mean, he's been in the job now for more than a decade, as you say, a remarkable turnaround story. Are there any worries that he might step off the platform at some point soon?
I mean, always there. But I mean, these are big companies with what you would expect to have an orderly succession plan. So it's not something that I'm certainly speculating about. I haven't seen any sort of hints about it, but I guess, the tenure there is long enough that it's something to keep an eye on.
All right, Neil Shah, good to speak to you this morning. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Ian.
Some other stories making the news this morning. It's a big day for company results, and the food and household goods giant Unilever warned today that it expects to see input cost inflation continue during the first half of this year. The company behind Ben & Jerry's ice cream, Dove soap and Domestos bleach said inflation would add €1.5 billion to its costs during the first half of the year, but it would be significantly lower during the second half. Well, the news came as Unilever, which is the world's biggest ice cream producer, reported a full-year operating profit on an underlying basis of €9.7 billion. That was up 0.5% on 2021, with price increases contributing in all parts of the business. Well, Alan Jope, the chief executive, cited strong sales growth in a number of key brands.
Looking in the rearview mirror last year, remember, pricing is the last thing we want to do. We want to introduce efficiencies in the company. And as a result, we only passed through 75% of the cost inflation that we felt last year in the form of pricing. We're very conscious that the consumer is squeezed, and to remain competitive, we want to minimize the amount of pricing. I would characterize where we are right now as being past peak inflation, but not yet at peak pricing. There is more pricing to come. Some of it will just be rollover effect of pricing we took last year, but there will be some modest fresh price increases still to come.
To our sister channel, CNBC. I'm afraid we're going to break into the business news very temporarily, I hope, to take you to the European Parliament, where Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is speaking to MEPs. We're going to listen in for him.
Slava Ukraini! Шановна пані президент, дорога Роберто, я дякую тобі за ці потужні слова.
And I thank you for your personal attention, very important attention to Ukraine. Thank you for your principled and energetic approach, two qualities that we see unchanged during this struggle for Europe. And the combination of those is a precondition for progress. Europe is lucky that in this plenary hall, in the biggest parliament of Europe, in the European Parliament, a principled approach and energized approach have an absolute majority, enjoy an absolute majority. I thank you. Dear representatives of Europe, dear leaders of Europe, all of us Europeans, each and every hundreds of millions of people on our continent, combine these two statuses, representatives of Europe and leaders of Europe. This combination reflects what our Europe, modern Europe, peaceful Europe gives to the world. European way of life, European life standard, European rules of life, when each and everyone have matter, when the law rules, the rule of law, when states strive to be social and societies strive to be open, when diversities of value and the values of different people are united by fair equality, when borders are not violated But when you don't feel that you cross borders, when people trust and have faith in tomorrow and are ready to go to squares to fight for their tomorrow, when between protesters and the president, there's only one barrier, and that is honest elections. This is our Europe. These are our rules. This is our way of life. And for Ukraine, it's a way home. A way to its home. Now, I am here in order to defend our people's way home, of all Ukrainians, of all ages and various political convictions, of various social status, of various religious convictions, and different histories, but all of us enjoy this common European history. The Ukrainian European way of life, they tried to annihilate it through total war. Why? Because after the Ukrainian European way of life, they want to destroy the European way as such. Out of all 27 elements of the European way of life, of 27 countries of the European Union, we will not allow that. This total war now that was waged by Russia is not only for the territory, for a territory in this or that part of Europe. The threat of it is that there is a dictator with massive supplies and reserves of Soviet weapons and weapons from dictatorial regimes, Iran in particular. In order to be able to fight like this, the Kremlin cynically and deliberately, year after year, step after step, was trying to eliminate and destroy what we see as our value in Europe. The value of human lives has been destroyed in Russia. For the authorities there, nobody is of value apart from those who are in the Kremlin and have their own wallets as at heart. 140 million of Russian citizens, for the leaders of Russia, are just bodies that are capable of carrying weapons to Russia, the weapons that would be on the battlefield and to keep everybody in obedience, so they could become the supremacy of violence and obedience. These are the rules instead of law. There. The Russian regime not only hates any social justice and diversity, they invest in xenophobia and are trying to make it part of normality on our continent and trying to make the inhumane realities of the 30s and the 40s of the 20th century a reality today. But this is the answer to that for us is no, no Europe. We are defending we're defending from the anti-European, most anti-European force of the modern world. We are defending ourselves, we Ukrainians, on the battlefield together with you. And I thank you that we're defending it together, and we must defend ourselves. And it's important not only for the states of Europe, not only for the communities and societies in Europe, no matter who we are and what we are. We always fight against disrespect and neglect. Wherever we live, we always put our faith in integrity for whatever we dream for our children and grandchildren. And the precondition for these dreams is peace and security. And that is going to be, and whether it's going to be possible if we do not overcome the anti-European force that is trying to steal from all of us our Europe. No. Only our victory will guarantee all that. Each of our European values, our victory that is going to be, that should happen, that would be mandatory. Dear leaders of Europe, dear President, ladies and gentlemen, dear members of the European Parliament, dear workers of the European Parliament here, and all the European institutions here, dear journalists, dear security service workers, dear military and army personnel, policemen, rescue workers, dear workers of municipalities, diplomats, teachers, professors, scientists, dear doctors, drivers, dear workers of seaports, farmers, dear industrialists, dear workers at the industrial enterprise, dear business owners, small, big businesses, dear workers at banks, dear energy workers and electricity grids workers, dear trade union workers, dear students and representatives of NGOs, dear producers and actors, lawyers, defense lawyers, human rights defenders. The destiny of Europe, the fate of Europe has never depended on politicians, and that should not be the illusions now. Each and every one of us matter. Each and every one of you are strong. Each and every one of you is capable to impact and influence our common result, our common victory. And these applause are not directed to me and at me. These applause is actually, for these applause, I'd like to thank all of you in Europe, in hundreds of towns and villages who supported Ukraine in this historic battle. Thank you. Thank you. I would like to thank you, to all of you who has been helping our people, our ordinary citizens, our resettled people here, who called on their leaders to increase and enhance their support to protect our ordinary people. Those who were on the squares, who were raising questions, who was spreading truth about the Russian aggression, who was not tempted to consume the Russian disinformation, and who is standing by us in our fight for life, for Europe. I thank you. I thank all of us who helped, all of you who helped Ukraine with vitally important supplies, weapons and ammunition, and energy equipment and fuel. Thousands of things and items that we wouldn't be able to endure in this total war. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the European Parliament, and to you personally, Roberta, that you, with your decisions, defend the European way of life steadfastly, that you defend the Ukrainian European way of life. You approve courageous decisions, and you strengthen the European ambition to be a home for justice and freedom. And I recall the first day of large-scale invasion, when the Russian ambition to break this and the entire Europe was still adamant and was still when the Russian aggression was beginning to break their tooth against fighting our defense. On this sixth day of the large-scale invasion, the European Parliament approved the resolution not simply to support our state, but to prove the status of the candidate for the European Union membership for our country. That was the vision that motivated us to be strong and to stay the course. Thank you. Today, during the meeting of the Council of European Council, I will be able to thank personally the heads of state and the governments for the decisions that, over the course of last year, allowed our continent to do what the previous wave of leaders considered impossible. Europe, at last, is relieving itself of the ruinous dependence on the Russian fossil fuels. Europe is cleansing itself of the corruption influence of the Russian oligarchic business. Europe is defending itself from the infiltration of the agents of Russian secret services who were looking at Europe as the hunting field for the opposition opponents of the Russian regime. For the first time in its history, the European Union is providing the military assistance at such large scale, and I see such a positive assessment of reforms in a European country that is fighting, defending itself, and is modernizing and reforming its institutions at the same time. We're approaching the European Union. Ukraine is going to be a member of the European Union. Ukraine is winning, is going to be a member of the European Union. The European Union that is winning. Dear friends, perhaps some of you didn't feel earlier the power of the European way of life. And now, together, Ukraine and the European Union countries have made our strength obvious. Why is it possible? Because we combine a principled and energetic approach. We all are equal. We're all equal in representing Europe and integrity. We know that everybody is a leader of Europe in their lives, in their specific lives. We're not going back in front of the enemy. We are defending ourselves. We're not losing time. We're changing ourselves. And we are changing things. Europe will always be and remain Europe as long as we're together, as long as we take care of our Europe, as we take care of the European way of life. I thank all of you. I invite all of you to Ukraine. Glory to all Ukrainians and who fight, and glory to Ukraine.
There you go. President Zelensky of Ukraine addressing the European Parliament. Will have a reaction to that speech as the morning goes on here on Sky News. But in the meantime, back to the business news. And among the government's targets for decarbonisation of energy is an aim to triple the UK's solar capacity from the current 14 gigawatts or so. Doing that, however, will require capital. To that end, Next Energy Capital, the asset management firm, has just begun seeking capital commitments for what it is claiming will be the biggest solar fund in the market. The Next Power 5 ESG fund is targeting capital commitments of between $1.5 billion to $2 billion US. Well, with me this morning is Michael Bonte-Friedheim. He's founding partner and group chief executive of Next Energy Capital. Michael, welcome to you, and thank you for patiently sitting alongside me for the last 20 minutes or so. What sort of uptake have you had so far? I know it's only early days.
Well, we could say that after 3 weeks of launching the product, we have strong interest from existing investors that have backed our previous investment funds and new investors as well. So as we move to a first close of this new vehicle in July, we're expecting that interest to materialize and actually even outperform our own projections.
What sort of return on capital are you promising investors, and over what period of time?
So as a specialist in the solar sector, we can actually generate outperformance through our focus solely on solar. And this fund, therefore, is targeting well above what others can achieve we're looking at gross returns of 13 to 15% for investors.
Wow. Now, you've already got something like $3.3 billion worth of assets under management and interest in, I think, about 350 solar plants. How much more out there is there to go for? What's the addressable investment opportunity, if you like?
So we're looking at a market in purely solar that will account for roughly $300 billion in new investment every year to 2050. And each year, as those projections are remade, they're actually increased. So we're looking at a huge addressable market. Our intention is to be a prime mover in that market, but of course only with a very small market share if you compare $300 billion a year to the $2 billion that we're targeting in funds to raise.
So there's absolutely no danger of there being too much money chasing too few opportunities?
Absolutely not. Not in our sector.
But what about, if you like, opportunities where there is an imminent prospect of spades in the ground? Presumably there is more competition there.
There is. It's all about sourcing projects. So we have an in-house development team that actually secures those projects so that our funds have preferential access to assets that are ready to build. And we're doing that very successfully across multiple markets, in particular in the UK. So it is about securing projects in the short term, but we have that preferential access.
What makes the UK an attractive market?
Well, there are a number of points that make it an attractive market. The first one is the need for decarbonization of the power sector. Then we have the framework support. And thirdly, we have the investment opportunities to rapidly deploy solar. And solar is a key contributor to lower power prices in the UK, which obviously is very much needed. It is a contributor to decarbonization, energy independence, and energy security. So if you put that all together, we have a very attractive market environment in the UK, as well as many other OECD countries at the moment.
Now, you mentioned the framework support there. Obviously, it's a huge talking point. Biden is putting $369 billion into encouraging the transition and incentivising that. What are your thoughts on that? What does the UK need to do to attract capital when the US is doing that and the EU is talking about responding in kind?
Well, equally, every bloc, every region has to make it more attractive for investments in clean tech, in renewable energy more broadly to take place and to be attracted into that market. Because solar is financially the most attractive new power generation capacity out there, we don't need a lot of support. So often it's just really allowing that the government allows us to get on with our work. From a macro perspective, each government set of stakeholders, legislators have to make sure there is an attractive environment to attract that incremental capital.
These subsidies that the US and potentially the EU are going to be offering, though, is that going to lead to a misallocation of capital? Is it going to distort investment decision making?
I don't think it will distort investment decision, but it will reallocate from a geographic perspective where that new investment will take place. What we are seeing is an increased attraction of investment into the US. Europe, the EU, the UK have to make sure that equally they put themselves on level footing so that they equally can attract this very large incremental investment that's coming into the sector. All these plans are not creating incremental investment. They're just pulling into those regions that incremental investment.
All right, Michael, we have to leave it there. It's good to see you again this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Some other stories making the news this morning. And Compass Group this morning credited the return to the office around the world as it reported a 24% rise in underlying sales during the final 3 months of last year. The world's biggest contract catering company, whose customers around the world include Shell, Nike, the Wimbledon Tennis Championships and the US Pentagon, said sales were up by 26% in Europe, 23% in North America and by 27% in the rest of the world. But it added, while populations continue to return to the office and consumer demand has been resilient, we are mindful of the uncertain macroeconomic environment and any potential impact on discretionary spending. Disney last night announced plans to cut 7,000 jobs and reduce its costs by more than $5.5 billion as part of a corporate reorganisation. Well, the news was delivered by Bob Iger in his first communication with Wall Street since he returned as chief executive just before Christmas. Mr. Iger said it was time to take a hard look at the cost of everything we make across television and film as he reorganised the business into 3 units: Disney Entertainment, theme parks and the sports TV unit ESPN. And Google's parent company Alphabet saw $100 billion wiped from its stock market valuation last night after its new AI chatbot made a mistake in an advert during a company event. The shares fell by 9% after the mistake by the chatbot Bard raised concerns about the accuracy of search engines and AI-generated answers to questions. Well, Google is feeling added pressure after Microsoft integrated the much-lauded ChatGPT AI into its Bing search engine, which is currently trending higher in the Apple App Store than Google for the first time.
Uganda and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do that?
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of digging
Darkness.
the hole of darkness.
So what did that
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019,
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Star Radio.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medase.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Star Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
This is Star Radio UK.
Broadcasting live online. Turn it on. Turn it up.
It's your mouth. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Star Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
Hi there. This is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Star Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Hey there, this is Archie, and it's Starr Radio UK and the morning show.
This is Starr Radio. This is UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Welcome.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade, Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute each and every one of you and welcome you to the Thursday edition of the morning show.
And forevermore.
Today is the 9th day of February, the year 2023. Why was I going to say 2022? Yeah. Want to go back? You can't go back. What is done is done. You have to move forward. And I want to welcome you all to the greatest show on earth, the Starr Radio UK morning show. And I'm saying good morning to my team this morning, Mr. Olayomi, Kojo D, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy, in the house. And to you there listening to us as well, I salute each and every one of you. Oladipupo, Samsudin, I hope you are doing very, very well. It says it's a Yoruba nation that is war, all that we want.
Lord, great are you, Lord. This I celebrate.
Okay, so some morning to the one and only Bishop Adeshina and Reverend Momo, wherever you are. Good morning to you. Anjona Dedeji Aziz Badasarik, good morning. And a special good morning also goes to Ohira Bakuvia say until it's Mamuinachi. My brother Felix all the way in Aberdeen, good morning to you. Captain Tete, good morning. Cut to the chase. All protocol observed, and once again, welcome to the program. Playing in the background something from Idiot Morrison. One who took my... When you hear that tune, you know that the morning show is on. So once again, welcome to the show. Now, for those of you who have tuned in for the first time on a Thursday edition of the morning show, this is how the program will go. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day. The weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as Global Trotting. Then from there, we continue to look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe at this round from Nigeria, with updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi at 11. We'll be bringing you some sniff view of what they discussed yesterday on the Niger Voices. And then we'll be continuing from there. At 12 o'clock, the lines will be open for you to add your voice to the discussions wherever you might be. We'll continue with that. And at 12:30, the curtains are brought down for the end of the program. So in Nigeria, that's what's going to happen today. So once again, let me say welcome. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. Well, the quote for the day says what? Don't be in a hurry to perform, rather be in a hurry to prepare. Don't be in a hurry to perform, but rather be in a hurry to prepare. You know, some people let's start it, giddy. You can't go far. But if you prepare well and you launch, oh my goodness, it's not a sprint, it's a long distance race, and you are able to go on. So once again, welcome and thank you very much. Now let's move on straight to the weather front. Let me tell you what is happening on the weather front this morning here in London and the southeast of England. For you. So this morning, especially in London and the southeast of England, this afternoon will be dry and bright with any early cloud having cleared away. There will be plenty of wintry sunshine for most, but the sunshine will turn a little hazy at times. Tonight will be dry and calm with widely clear skies and very little in the way of cloud around throughout. A cold and frosty night for most. Top temperature is going to be 10 degrees. The lowest is going to be -2. UV level, moderate pollution, low sunset 17:04, and sunrise for tomorrow morning 07:26 hours. That brings us to the end of the weather forecast. Okay, let's go after this short commercial break, and let me bring you the travel update. So stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep you navigated. I promise I'll be on the Starr Radio UK travel update that comes your way every weekday from 10:40. So what is your travels like? Share with us what is happening in your area, and I promise you one thing for sure, that we'll be sharing with our worldwide listenership or viewership. Okay, so here in London, this is how the travel is like. Now on the Central Line, severe delays are due to an earlier signal failure at Queensway and a faulty train at Stratford. London Underground tickets are being accepted on London buses. On the other side, all the other underground lines are in good service. Now, DLR has got severe delays between Bank and Woolwich, Arsenal, Lewisham and Tower Gateway to Canning Town while they fix a signal failure at Limehouse. Good service on all other routes. Then, as I announced yesterday on the London trams, from Wednesday, that was yesterday, to the 19th of February, no service between Therapia Lane and Wimbledon. Replacement buses will be operating. So now let's move on to the major roads in London. Let me tell you what's happening on the major roads in London this morning. A few incidents here and there. Now, A10, A4, A41, Blackwall, Tunnel, Central London Red routes have all got closures. Now, A23 have got severe delays. If you can avoid it, do your best to avoid it. And then A20, North Circular A406, South Circular A205 have got serious delays. So please check before you leave. Now let's move on straight to the river bus as well. Good service throughout there, and on the cable car as well, good service there. Now the final segment of our travel update, that's the National Rail. On the National Rail cross country, First Transpennine Express, London North Eastern Railway, Northern Rail and Southwestern Railway have all got minor delays. That aside, all the others, no exceptional delays, good service throughout there. So as I would say once again,
this is Starr Radio UK.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Welcome back to the program. It's now gone 9 minutes to the top of the hour, and it's now time for Global Trotting. So wherever you are, you want to share with us what is happening in your area, hey, feel free to do so. You can post it on our Facebook page or social media platforms, and then also on our own apps. Yes, yeah, if you have not downloaded it, please go to your app store, whether it's Android or iOS. Just go there, just type in Starr Radio Global, will pop up, and just download it. It is for free, and then we will have the chance to get in touch with you. But whatever it is, continue to stay tuned. But what is happening from across the globe or around us today? Let me bring that your way. Now, survivors stuck without water or heat as deaths near 16,000. Now we have the World Health Organization saying that, well, it's going to be up to, they estimate that it might rise up to about 20,000, maybe even more than that. But what do you think? There are fears that many earthquake survivors could yet lose their lives because of the terrible conditions they are living in. A cold weather there. Now, Zelensky takes fighter jet bid to EU leaders after convincing the West to supply tanks. Ukraine's president is now on a mission to get aircraft. Now, North Korea parades largest long-range missile array. Now, Kim Jong-un attended the event with his daughter, Ju Ai, who took center stage at a banquet there as well. So that's what is happening in North Korea. And Ukraine barred from using SpaceX tech for drones. Why? The firm says it has limited Kyiv's ability to use its Starlink satellite internet for military ends. So, well, I'll be telling you more about that in a moment, but wherever you are, don't touch the dial. Chinese balloon fleet spanned 5 continents. That's what the US is saying. US officials are saying the object is part of a wider fleet of balloons that has spanned 5 continents. Well, is it coming from the data that they've observed or captured, or they are using their satellite to also observe its movement at the time? Whatever it is, more going to be coming your way from there. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, when it comes to Nigeria as well, kidnappers demand 150 million naira for Cross River Commissioner's release. yeah. Now, that's after 8 days of his kidnapping. Now, new naira, World Bank, IMF, won CBN. Supreme Court stops Friday deadline. We did talk about that briefly yesterday once we were on air. That information was coming through. Then BVAS will be deactivated when snatched, says INEC. Oh, these elections. Well, today being the 9th day. How many days more? Okay. UNICEF asked the federal government to provide toilet subsidy to vulnerable Nigerians. Wow. You need an outside body to come and tell you that you need to provide toilet facility for your people, then that is a massive problem there. That is a massive problem. That someone would call it a total failure by the government. But well, what do you think? Lots more going to be coming your way from Nigeria as we go on. And the ICPC best popular commercial bank and discovers 258 million new notes hidden. Those are some of the stories. Wike approved stadium for Tinubu's presidential campaign rally in Rivers. Waves 5 million naira payment. Why is it doing that? Because when Atiku was going to have that use that stadium, he didn't allow them to do that. Well. And then more going to be coming from there. Lagos slashes BRT fare, plans food banks as well. And then PDP will reopen all international borders if elected. Atiku is saying, is he trying to just get into bed with the Yoruba people who those in the south west where their borders have been shut? And some of the borders, because they want to limit. I know that the other time Yomi was saying that it's been open though, but to limit business from that point of view, is it something to just dent their what do you call it, commercial activities and finances? Well, more going to be coming your way from there. So coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Now moving on to other parts of Africa as well. South Africa battles with water crisis. Infrastructure deterioration is also leading to people not having sufficient water. There is also the element of unequal distribution. My goodness. And Mali Azawad movement unite in a bid to pressure the ruling junta. More going to be coming away from there. Uganda to terminate mandate of UN Rights Office. You know, the moment you have somebody there telling you that, hey, you are not doing what you're supposed to do, they think that, you know what, let's get a person out. And that seems to be what Uganda seems to be doing. And then last Tuesday, we had some information coming through that actually enlightened the hearts of Ghanaians and Africans as a whole. But hey, now we're still having information coming through saying that the footballer, the former Black Star player as well, Christian Atsu, has not been found. Is still missing in the quake that happened in Turkey. So, well, our prayers and thoughts are with his family and friends and loved ones as well. It is Starr Radio UK. Fraudulent payment for school placement traced to Education Minister's access. My goodness. But he's saying that, you know what, I don't know. So somebody might have used his access to, do that distribution or placement. What do you think? More going to be coming your way. Now, interestingly, after the Auditor General published the COVID funds report or auditor's report, now we have the Attorney General who has come out to say that, you know what, it was a wrong move. What you did wasn't legal, so you were supposed to have presented the report first to Parliament and blah blah blah. Now, it's the end that justifies the means. If people have squandered money, what is important is that we have to hold them accountable. But it seems to be that, hey, this should have been what's supposed to be. You shouldn't have gone that far. You shouldn't have placed it. But it's in the public domain. So what? Is it talking about the people who have to be surcharged for whatever cost or loss that they've got, they've made for the state? Or the unaccounted funds that has been used or misused? Well. A lot more going to be coming your way from there. But for now, let's go take a musical break and prepare ourselves for the White Lion to join in to bring you updates from Nigeria. This is from Theodora Gospel, Pastor Theodora Boache Answer in Oxfordshire. She says what? Everlasting to everlasting. It's only God who is everlasting. Every person, whether they are Putin, whatever they are, one day, they go vamoose. Abi? All right then. Enjoy this song and I'll be with you.
We bow before your throne. we worship you and lift you high. We bow before your throne, oh great I am, omnipotent.
To Mr. Alfred Hammond, all the way in Ghana. And to Rosita. Hope you are doing good, yeah? I'll get in touch with you maybe sometime later in the day. But wherever you are, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Creator who was not created, King who has no successor, flower that never fades. Abba Father, we worship thy kingdom come. Oh Lord, we call you Emmanuel. There is no one like our Lord God Almighty. Yesterday I was having a chat with somebody. I was asking about everything that is going on around the world now, with earthquakes, hurricanes, and everything that happened, and people losing their lives and stuff like that. And all that we could say that God is God. Nobody can touch him. Nobody. I mean, he does whatever he wants, right? But some of the things that happens, we are the causes of it, you know. But wherever you are, I hope that you are doing well. And share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones. It is Starr Radio UK. We should have Mr. Olayomi keep joining in a moment. We'll continue to enjoy the music. You are the first and the Alpha and Omega. That's why we bow down and worship you. And we lift you high. We can only worship the Lord, we can just say thank you, God, because we have life. Let us say all the time, once you have life, that means you have hope. That means God is not finished with you yet, So keep on keeping on and keep on fighting on. Keep on believing yourself. I say it all the time, if you are convicted that what you are doing is the right thing to do, yes, it could happen that you will not enjoy whatever you are sacrificing yourself for. But it could be that somebody in your family, maybe your children or your children's children, might have that opportunity or that privilege of enjoying that. That's why we see those who fought for independence for us in various countries or the colonies that they called it at the time. Some lost their lives. Lots of things did happen. However, you can say that we've enjoyed a bit of it. So if you are standing up for yourself because you think that your people are being marginalized, or you think that you're not being treated fairly, whether it's misogyny, whether it's racism, whether it's cronyism, whatever thing that is happening to you rest assured of one thing. You might be able to see the reward of what you are doing now, or it might be that in your lifetime you might not see it. But we rest assured of one thing, that someday, somehow, posterity will be the judge. And somebody will say, yes, remember that man, he fought for this cause, and it was the right cause. Maybe we didn't understand it at the time, but now we do. It is my singular honor to once again welcome the White Lion himself, Mr. Olayomi in our North London studios. And let me say, Yomi, good morning to you.
Well, a very good morning to you back in the studio, and a very good morning to all our listeners and viewers, because as we have people that are watching us on the side here where the sister broadcast is going on, we also have people that are listening to us. It saves them a bit of data, because it costs arms and leg, as we always say in African country, especially in Nigeria, to be able to have enough data. So we have people that just carefully plug in their AirPod or their earpiece and they can listen to us. But we have thousands of people, and I was looking at the statistics of those that monitor and follow us, and you won't believe Nigerians are topping the rank table according to the social media statistics. When I was watching it this morning, those that follow us back to back in Nigeria, the number is quite high. America seems to be the second, UK, but again, we're grateful to those that listen to Star Radio UK from Monday to Friday and the rest of the weekend, where we bring all the program. And I say good morning, Frank, good morning, Archie, and good morning, Linda, Penny, and the rest of the team behind the scene. The sound engineer, we are back again, the Thursday edition, the 9th of February, 2023. And it is the update now from Nigeria. I'll slightly come again back to you in the studio.
Yes. How are you doing, and how was your night? How is the family as well?
The family are doing very well, as usual, because the most important thing that you can say the family is doing well is they have a shelter. Shelter is one of the most important bits. And the reason why I said so is, again, going back to the incident that happened in Turkey, I was looking at some of the images again yesterday before going to bed. These were homes to people. You could see the toys, you could see the beds, you could see, the washing machine. Maybe somebody was cleaning up the house when all these things were happening. We continue on behalf of the Star Radio UK, especially the Nigerians that are living there, not just Nigerians, but everybody that has been affected. Again, we're sending our condolences to those that are, have been affected. But the family are doing very well on this other side of the globe. But our concern is always the other part in Nigeria, where our family, and when I say our family, does not literally mean a Yoruba man, an Igbo man, a Kanuri man, an Hausa man. We are talking about the citizen that is being impacted with the spark of things that has been put on them. And the question is, who is going to fix it in the next few more days before the 25th of February, when the government is calling for an election?
Well, that's the question. Who is going to fix it? Are there a fixer? Do we have anything? Those in power, do we see them doing anything for us at all? Well, it is Star Radio UK. Let me say good morning to Olayinka. It will be afternoon in Turkey as well. And thank you very much for bringing us that update last Tuesday. But wherever you are, we'll try to link up with her for her to bring us some more updates from there. Maybe tomorrow, God willing, so that we know exactly what is happening there. But wherever you are, we say once again, thank you very much for joining us in this broadcast or on this broadcast. Those who are just listening tuning in and those who are viewing. You are doing your best there, and we love you so much, because but for you, we will not be here. There will be no point of us being here. Akin Tunde Odua, he says, good morning, all viewers all over the world and the rest of the team in the studio. We say good morning to you as well, and thank you very much for joining in. All right, now let's crack on straight to some of the stories making the round. Gina Mate, good morning to you as well, and yes, as many of you who are there. Now, Yomi, let's quickly come to this incident that has happened. The information that is coming through that multiple people are feared dead. Many people feared dead as multiple car crash on Kara Bridge. Now, can you give us, for those of us who don't know where Kara Bridge is and how the incident, because I know that you have images of it, but we wouldn't want to put it because it's quite gory. We wouldn't want to do that. So tell us a bit about that incident that has just happened.
As we were preparing, to come straight to you in the studio, and the information was just breaking. It is not the first time that, incident happen around the world, but what we always concern is, what could lead to such incident in the first place. Kara Bridge is well known, in Nigeria, and it is not, one location that is not well known by the governor of Lagos State and Ogun State that shares almost the same boundary. And as we can say right now, there has been a multiple accident that is also now creating a gridlock. Kara Bridge is also linking us, for those that are probably leaving Lagos State, to the other side of whether you're traveling to, whether you're traveling into Ogun State or you're traveling into Oyo State as well. But one thing we can say is, according to the FRC, has attributed the cause of the accident, guess what, to the brake failure by the truck whose driver rammed into vehicles in front of him. I mean, we are talking about, again, another 40-foot container. What we're about to show doesn't have any graphic that is not what to be shown. So what we're going to do is, we're going to show that in just about a few minutes. The engineers are preparing that. But what we can say is, how do we know if a vehicle doesn't have the brakes? That means the vehicle should have gone through a rigorous check in the first place. But it's different in Nigeria, because most of these vehicles are probably not even what to be on the road in the first place, and that is why so many Nigerians have been always complaining that it seems that the government are doing less to check vehicles that traveled on the road. And what we have witnessed again this morning is one person, 3 people continue to be losing their life because of the negligence of the system. About 7 vehicles, including a container truck, were involved in the multiple accidents that have paralyzed movement and left motorists and travelers on what we can call the ever busy stranded in a nerve-wracking gridlock. Already, first responders, including the office of the FRC, which is the Federal Road Safety Corps, and the Lagos State Emergency Services, LASMA, had arrived at the scene. But again, people have lost their life again this morning from the negligence of a system that could have been much better, but has failed again more Nigerians.
Listeners, sad one there as well. We wake up each day and we hope and keep our fingers and everything crossed that things will take along. But, well, some people have lost their lives. But again, you ask yourself, in this part of the world, when things like that happen, they look at it and next time something grievous like that will not happen. But what do we do? Was the truck even, did he have an MOT check on it before he hit the road? Nah, it might not be at all. Maybe his whole lifespan has never had anything of the sort. But it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Once again, let me say good morning to Shamsuddin. And he says that, God bless you, sir. Yoruba Nation is the solution for Nigeria. Let me read this Yoruba that he's put there, and if I get it wrong, Yomi is there to sort it out. It's a Koni Baji Fung Gbogbo Yo. Okay, I think Yomi
it's not going to be spoiled for every single one of you back in the studio.
Oh, thank you very much, and let's say amen. All right then. Okay, now let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds. First of all, let's talk about the Naira. Has it been sorted now? Are people getting their hands on their money? This is not gift from government. Are people getting their hands on it? And those people who were agitating to say that, well, we're not getting full well, we're not getting everything, what has become of them?
Well, money is still, something that we use on our daily lives. I mean, whether you go on the London transport, it is not free. You have to buy the ticket in advance, or you have to use, your own, Oyster card, or you have to use your bank card to be able to, allow you to travel. And if you travel on the public transport here in UK without, a proper, fare, you would then have to pay a penalty fare. Let's first, take us back to, Lagos State, and that is the images coming there from, from the Kara Bridge. You can see the container. You can see that we are talking about a 40-foot container that has no brake and has rammed into 20 more vehicles that have created this very, ghastly accident that we have been talking about. So let's come back again and discuss, Naira. The Naira is a very, very important. Nigerians do not spend dollar, they do not spend pounds, but we do know that Naira, as of today, has become, something that is running away from people. Part of what we discussed yesterday on Niger Voices was the scarcity of the Naira, the scarcity of the fuel. And yesterday, the governor of Lagos State has now made a 50% reduction on the government transport system that would then cushion the pressure. None of the other states have done so. And the reason for that is most of the transport system in Nigeria are private. And that literally means that, it's not like the UK where you have the London transport and they can easily reduce the price fare automatically. This doesn't happen in Nigeria. But as we speak today, the National Union of Banks and Insurance and Financial Institution Employees has also now threatened to withdraw the services of its members nationwide following attacks on some of the commercial banks. We saw in Abeokuta in Shapon where the first bank was raised down. I can't confirm that, but I'm told that a bank, maybe the CBN, but it's not yet confirmed. We're still doing a background check that the CBN in Benin has been burnt as well, but that is not yet confirmed as I speak to you. But we do know that a lot of ATM machines have been destroyed by Nigerians that have been frustrated, not able to get money out from the bank. And today, since we are still using money for trade by barter, it is important. But one thing the governor of Kaduna is saying is that Nigerians should continue using the old and the new currency, because when Tinubu comes back, he will be able to reverse what Buhari has done. That again is becoming something that a lot of Nigerians are kind of. Do you now think that Tinubu will win the election to come and reverse, these? Keep using the old note. Tinubu will change the policy if elected, El-Rufai tells Kaduna trader. According to the information, the El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna, has asked traders in his own state to continue using the old Naira note for transaction. He was speaking Tuesday at the meeting with the traders in Kaduna. El-Rufai said, if Bola Tinubu, the presidential candidate of the APC, is elected, he will review the Naira redesign policy, stop changing your money, and tell everyone to stop taking money to the bank. This is very, very contradictory to what the present government that is still running under the same APC, already there's fire on the mountain.
That is quite serious, because these are the people who have formulated the policy to change the currency or to renew it, and then they've done that. They've given instruction. The people are following that. Now you, somebody who is part of the ruling government, come to say that, look, forget about whatever is been done. But that when Tinubu comes, he's going to. So is he going to say that we use the same old currency? Is that what he's trying to say there?
Well, if the governor is advising traders not to even bother moving their old currency that is meant to be the last day, which is tomorrow, into the bank, we still have about almost 16 days or thereabout before the election comes up. Mm-hmm. Who says that APC will be coming back? Who says that Tinubu will be the president? But El-Rufai is already hinting that Tinubu might change the policy, but for him to now tell the traders not to even bother changing that money shows that there is now a log egg between the present cabal that we have known before and the old cabal that we have now actually come into the picture, which is Aisha Buhari. So it seems now that El-Rufai is adamant that Tinubu will come back into the government, even though we don't know that if Aisha wants to make Tinubu to lule, which means fall down, and that literally means that Atiku becomes the president, and we are not sure whether Atiku might be interested in bringing that policy down again. Money has been changed so many times in different countries, but what is now being discussed is that El-Rufai is saying, tell everyone in Kaduna who has the old note to spend it and buy items. Tell every trader to also accept the old note.
But Yomi, assuming you are a businessman there, knowing that this is the policy that the central government, the governor has put across, that these are new notes, and they've given a timetable that is when you can that's how far or when the usage of the old note will be accepted. Okay, now would you hearken to what this man is saying, this governor is saying at all?
Well, I mean, if I was in the shoe of most of the traders, the problem we have in Nigeria is lack of illiteracy. So, people believe that, the governor speaks for them, even though the federal speaks on behalf of everybody. I mean, we're not discussing a money that is used alone in Kaduna State. We're talking about money being used. So if I am from the Southwest and I have to do business in the North, and I have to, reject being given large sum of money that has been, brought into the policy to be completed tomorrow, I will reject that. But the problem we are having is, the ignorance and the illiteracy that we have. And if El-Rufai speaks, he speaks on behalf of a state, but he's not speaking on behalf of the federal.
Because of course the state have not got its own currency, so you can't say that this is what I want to do whilst we are using the money that is coming from the federal. Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, yesterday on the Niger Voices, getting to the tail end, you did talk about what the Yoruba and the Igbos are saying, or and looking at the dates that the Igbos are saying that, look, the way the things are going, we are calling blah blah blah, and we had others who were thinking that, well, if that is what the Igbos are saying, then what are the Yorubas doing? For the sake of those who were not able to join the program at that time, for some clarification, what is going on there?
Well, a lot of the Yorubas are, becoming worried and concerned, especially as the movement seems to have been, divided, from those that believe that, the country has been taken, and the leader itself says, we have not yet made a declaration. But because the declaration that came out in November last year by one of those that have also been campaigning for the Yoruba nation struggle, she was on our show, but as we speak right now, they're trying to avoid any other media for conversation, and in which there's no problem to that. But Professor Adebanjo Akintoye has come out to debunk that they are just playing football, because there's nothing like a Yoruba nation as we speak right now. It is still a project, and that project will be finalized, will be completed, as we will continue to ask for that right under the United Nations Charter. But the question that people ask is, the last caller that we had yesterday was referring that it seems that the Biafra are moving ahead of us, in terms of, what they are doing. We are not coming out with any kind of more information, to discuss whether the Yoruba should go out and vote or not. But we have categorically said on behalf of the Yoruba nation that the movement disagree with the politics and the election itself, and that literally means that the Yorubas have been advised not to vote in this coming election. And then if the Yorubas are not voting, what will be the gain? Is a question that people are asking. The gain is, Nigeria itself has a lot of indication that it's going to collapse. The reason why the Yorubas are now also asking question is because there's this internet online conversation that is going on to say that we have a nation, we are doing occupying, we are doing reclaiming, and we are we had those that were saying that we're occupying, which they also say they have a country. The Nigerian police arrested them, and they are now saying that we've written a letter to the United Nations. So there's a lot of controversy that is already filtering through within the Yoruba Nation movement, but we have been told to calm down by the leaders that the job is still an ongoing and the project will be completed. But if anybody say that they have already declared Yoruba Nation, it's just like two children playing football outside the street, and anybody can declare. I mean, I can declare Yoruba nation, but does not literally mean that the nation itself has a declaration. So for those that are saying that is a declaration, again, that is an illusion. The Yoruba nation is not yet declared. It will be declared at the appropriate time. Now let's come back to the Biafra. Simon Ekpa made a State of the Nation broadcast yesterday. He talked about the conversation he had with a news network that everybody will have to wait. I think about 4 hours that gave a lot of details of what the Biafra and the way forward. But they have also been coming out with their sit-at-home, which has been done, for a very long time, and even after the rendition and the kidnapping of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So what we are now seeing right now is that, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that is in the custody of the DSS, will be the only option that some of this information that I'm about to speak about will stop, according to the spokesperson of the Biafra, Mazi Simon Ekpa. He actually said 23rd, 24th, 25th, Biafra land will be on a total lock and key, which is what they've been doing, every Monday sit-at-home. That is also having a big economic crisis to the southeast. He also said that on the 26th, 27th, 28th, it will be a complete seal. That means, nobody would even have any option to go out. He also said that the reason for that is, because they will be really having a serious confrontation with the federal government, and the last thing they want is their citizens to get involved, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But what he actually said that the only thing that can bring out the subject review of this is until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released. He also gave an information that on the 15th, which is just about almost 6 days from today, those in the southeast should be very, very vigilant, because there's a planned crisis, coming from Lagos State, and likewise, from the north. And that agenda is already something that they have already exposed, but they should be careful about. Now, let's talk about, Dr. Sunday Oloyigbowo. As a spokesperson for him, he has also said that the Yoruba nation is a continuity, and that literally means that at the appropriate time, anytime soon, more Yorubas will be given details of what next to do.
Wow. Well, a very comprehensive issue there, but we'll hope. But the IPOB, they are saying that they are going to bring the southeast, put it under lock and key, okay? And they've done this sit-at-home policy for some time now. So if they say don't go and vote, there's a tendency that their people are going to listen to them, because they've seen what happens in that particular area. But when it comes to the Yoruba area, that's the southwest, we don't have it like that, because nobody has told anybody sit at home or
stand. Well, and that has always been the argument. Yorubas want us to do the sit at home, but the leaders of the Yoruba movement says, the sit at home option might not work within the Yoruba context of this movement. And what they have already pushed out from December 17 is because they believe that bringing the government into a standstill will bring a kind of a dialogue, because there's no way dialogue is not still going to happen. I mean, we saw, Zelensky, right here in Europe right now. I believe he was in UK yesterday. Speaking
now he's
to the
in
parliament.
Brussels.
He's currently in Brussels at the moment. So it doesn't matter whatever those that says that they want to leave Nigeria, you must still have a roundtable conversation. But the only way the Yoruba believe that this roundtable conversation is, they want a peaceful negotiation. I was reviewing the letter that was sent to Buhari, yesterday during the Starr Radio UK, and in that letter, it says, and I quote, "Mr. President, we the Yoruba have taken our time to consider all the various options available to us as civilized people in today's civilized world. We have arrived at the most reasonable conclusion and the most sustainable option in the best interest of everybody to have a peaceful, dissolution of the Yoruba people coming out. But we are not too sure whether the federal government wants to go through that route. But then the next option will be that the Yoruba people will be coming out in a massive rally protest to shut down the Southwest. When that is going to happen again is what people don't know. Remember that we came out in Lagos, the governor of Lagos State authorized the killing of those that came out for the protest. And when they were doing, the review of that, Professor Banji Akintoye says, even if we got killed, we must continue. It does not matter how the fire is. We must touch that fire so that we can get to the best part of it and stop what is currently going on. And like you said, we pray that a lot of us witness what is going to be the end part of it, but sometimes not everybody witness such, because we do know we are dealing with a system that has been there for the last 62 years, and in the interest of some, Nigeria should be continuity, and in the interest of some, as indigenous people, Nigeria should be divided for the best unity that will then create a better enabling environment.
Well, listeners, it is Star Radio UK. Now, if you missed the Niger Voices yesterday, you just go to the Star Radio UK or a social media platform, and it's all there. You can just go back, re-listen to it, and you can make sense of what was discussed there. Aziz, Brother Sarik, good morning. He says, good morning, Brother Koiki, and good morning to you, Mr. Archie, and the rest of the team. We salute you, sir, and thank you very much for joining us, all of you, on the various platforms. But it is Star Radio UK. It is the morning show. It is updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios. Let's touch on one story before Yomi takes over the reins. Now, at least if a government is not capable of providing anything, now there are some basic amenities that they should get. At least you should have water. At least you should have, even if you are sleeping outside, you should have a toilet that you can use. So we don't just go around any place because of the we don't have toilets to defecate anywhere, because that brings about illness, diseases comes from that as well. But for the the World Organization or the UN to come in to say that, you know what, you have to make sure that you provide the people with that, I think I want to call that a total failure of the government. What do you think?
48 million Nigerians are still defecating outside as we speak today. That is a huge number in a country of where about 206 million Nigerians. I mean, only 10% of Nigeria today has, integrated basic wash. I have traveled to Nigeria since 2015 after, arriving here, in the 1998. And after so many years, I traveled back, and you will not want to make use of any toilet, even visiting those within the environment. And the reason for that is, you might end up using the toilet and you think it's just like the UK where you can just flush, but you will realize that there's no water and you might have to cry out. Or sometimes, because they know that some of us that are coming from UK, they have to prep you ahead. So if you're going to the toilet, in the local toilet, you'll be probably told. But somebody like me, avoid using public toilet because it's nothing to write them about. Even some of the, services like the eatery, some of their toilet as well is not up to the standard. You don't even want to go to the airport. The airport of Lagos, Murtala Mohammed, so many people have done videos around there.
You don't mean
toilet is, yes. The toilet is not even worth using. I mean, the question then is, what does it cost? I was showing a school somewhere, in the London borough where I was visiting this morning, and I was asking myself, when you look at the length of the school, the question is, we have the land to build, the facilities. The government needs to put out the instruction, the policy, as eateries, as places. But because the poverty level in Nigeria, and that is why this morning the headline says UNICEF is now asking the federal government to provide toilet subsidy to vulnerable Nigerians.
Wow, that is I mean, somebody got a serious blow in the gut, and I don't think that government should even dare make any statement, because if you're not able, you've been 62 years after independence, and government cannot be able to provide toilet facilities for people. Wow. Okay, well, policies cannot be made for that to be to happen as well. Then what do we think, or what is the way forward? But listeners, it's Star Radio UK 11:34. Let me go to Yomi for the rest of the stories making the rounds. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Archie, as we review some of the quick headlines. Should we say that in the next 2 weeks, the new NLC President Joe Ajaro, the Nigerian Labour Congress, has now issued to the President Muhammadu Buhari to either bring the situation under control, or, as the new president of the NLC taking over yesterday, they will be coming out, and that means 2 weeks from today, the president needs to sort out the Naira and the petrol scarcity. Buhari has pushed Nigerians to the wall the Nigerian Labour Congress says Nigerians have been pushed to the wall concerning getting their money in the bank, buying fuel at the filling station, according to the new president. The outgoing president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Ayuba Waba, says President Muhammadu Buhari's economic policy resulting in petrol and naira scarcity have pushed Nigeria to the wall. But the new one coming in says, I'm giving you 2 weeks. If not, we'll be declaring a nationwide protest, and that would then be his first one. But we don't know that it's easier said than done. Most of the time, some of these individuals end up to be, not doing what they are saying they're going to do. So we are now giving them up to the 22nd of February to determine whether that would happen, subject to if there is changes within the government as well. So let's take a look again. IMF is still warning the CBN about the deadline tomorrow. NEMA tax Kwara government over election violence is also happening. New Naira note, 300 local governments don't have a bank, according to the APC chieftain. I mean, there's just a lot. We have 774 local governments, and out of that, 300 local governments don't have a bank. The national vice chairman of the All Progressive Congress in the Northwest, Saliu Lukman, has expressed concerns about the new Naira swap policy enforced by the Central Bank of Nigeria, saying there are about 300 out of the 774 local government, especially in the north, that have no presence of financial institution. This is even as it bemoaned the inability of his party leaders to convince President Major General Muhammadu Buhari retired to rethink the implementation of the controversy policy. So that is also coming from there. Let's go straight again. Why Supreme Court paused and banned on the old Naira note, is also the headline as well. Wike lacks popular support to help Tinubu in Rivers State. Peter side, there's a lot going on there. Ike Keremadu, I didn't offer to buy kidney. Ike Keremadu tells UK court. Remember that Ike Keremadu court case is still ongoing, and the court has actually rejected that Sonia, the daughter, must also continue into the the court that is going on as we speak right now. The former deputy president of the Senate, Ike Ikeremadu, has denied offering money to a prospective kidney donor to save his sick daughter, Sonia. The lawmaker, his wife, and their 25-year-old daughter are all on trial in London for allegedly trafficking a young man from Nigeria to serve as a kidney donor. The Ike Ikeremadus were alleged to have offered up to £7,000 to the 21-year-old trader, whom they flew to London and firstly presented as Sonia's cousin, so as to obtain his kidney. According to the Old Bailey yesterday, lawyers for the defendant Martin Hicks insisted that they believe the donor was actually altruistically. So, which is we might want to find out the meaning of that, because that's quite a very. Let's see if we can bring that the meaning of that to our listeners and audience in a way that involves caring about others and helping them, despite not gaining anything by doing so. So that is exactly what that means in a layman. So I'm going to take one more. Once again, a very good morning to those of you. Election, as the election is getting closer, it seems that more presidential candidates are saying that maybe Peter Obi, Atiku, and Tinubu let the youth rule. I am the youngest presidential candidate in Imumole. I am the youngest, most educated candidate. I am the only candidate that when you go about, you see people testify about me with or without politics. Christopher Imumole, Accord Party presidential flag bearer, has called on Peter Obi, the Labour Party, Bola Tinubu, the APC, Atiku Abubakar, to say that maybe you should just allow me to be the president. I'm not sure that is going to happen, as we do know that the election in Nigeria is a do or die. So they're already killing each other, and right there is the images of those that are contesting. Even Showore himself, and he's the one on the far left there. Peter Obi is on the top there. You can see Atiku, and I believe if I move a little bit, you can see Bola Ahmed Tinubu right there. So we go straight now to the social media, where that is the only place where Nigerians have discussion. Woto, there's a video where, according to Simon Ekpa, the latest on Nigeria disintegration in 2023 and Biafra freedom, I said from the 15th of this month, they will start making our job more easier. There's a particular video that I've got right here in front of me where Nigerians are throwing stones and bottles on a vehicle. And let me get a very close image of that vehicle. And this one belongs to, the APC, no, the PDP. What the APC is the one that use umbrella. I guess I mixed. No, the PDP is the one that use umbrella. The APC is the one that use the broom. So they are actually, chasing this particular vehicle that has to put it on a very fast reverse, as a lot of Nigerians. Matthias on Twitter says, "You all wake up. We are at war. They will switch off the network at any point in time. The Fulani cabals have taken over all the strategies positioned in disguise of one Nigeria. They have the backing of the evil other countries around the world." Let's now go. There is now a fight between two artists in Nigeria. We're talking about Seun Kuti, where is one of the children of Fela Kuti, and we're also talking about Peter Okoye, who is also known as P Square, and they've been throwing banter between each other in the last 24 hours, and it's quite an interesting one. Social media is gagged with that. Neferati is a good supporter of Peter Obi, and what she's saying, Showore, Shegaling, Seun Kuti, Dejade Yoju, Peter Obi has exposed all the fake activists in Nigeria. Nigeria is a crime scene. Use your head. Think for yourself. Do not allow any son of Adam to deceive you. Shine your eyes, so focus is the key. Also, Sammy Boy says, Nigeria is a crime scene and you want Peter Obi to become the president of a crime country. You are a bunch of criminals. There's a lot of banter going on right there, as you can tell. Also, Yoruba Global Youth, feel free to tell us what you think. It seems that they're actually holding Tinubu as is about. I don't know, he's dancing, but there's somebody behind him that is holding him. Maybe so that Tinubu doesn't fall down. He's an open boss, so Tinubu is in the front holding, but right behind him there's somebody else holding him. I mean, if you're holding yourself, you shouldn't be able to fall back. But there's still somebody behind him that is guiding him so that he doesn't trip over.
That is back security.
Okay. And the last but not the least, is again, prepare for post-election crisis. And this is coming again from one of the leader of the Yoruba social cultural group, that is one of our father in the Yoruba side, Baba, we call him. I had the privilege to meet him while I was in Nigeria last year. Some of his views is something that he refused to say outside, but he's already endorsed Peter Obi. But he believes that every single Nigerians must now go and prepare for what they call the post-election crisis. He now says, forget United Nigeria. If Peter Obi fails to win presidential election, there is trouble. As they always say, the Gari has actually overshadowed the water. And as we know, we have been saying this for a very long time, Nigeria is really at the verge of breakup. But it seems that it might not break if things goes as it would have been in the last 62 years. But more Nigerians have now been exposed to so many things, and you can also tell that Twitter is one place that Nigerians have been battling each other with.
Well, listeners, it's Starr Radio UK. Updates from Nigeria comes your way every weekday from 11 o'clock. But the morning show starts from 10, where we bring you all the news across the globe from Sky, and then we come live with all the other stories making the rounds as well. At 11, as I said, Mr. Olayomi joins in to bring you all the details that you need to know pertaining to what is happening in Nigeria and what is happening on the social media platform there as well. So don't miss out on it at all. All right, then. Now, Yomi, two of the stories there, then we can just call it a close from your side. Now, Ikere Kuruma dudes, the young man who was brought in, what has his family said so far? Because it looks like it's him just like a small voice making some noise. But maybe the family might have received something from there, which we don't know. Now, what has the family said?
Well, in a situation like these, you hardly get anything coming out from the family. Remember that, this young boy would have been picked up, not in Lagos, definitely somewhere in the village, and like you say, we do know that, the politicians, I'm sure they will have weighed all these options. maybe the young boy spoke with some people that actually changed the mind, because he would have also been probably, we don't know, we're just having a conversation on, maybe accepted these before leaving Nigeria. I mean, who doesn't want to get to UK, a country where, you have opportunity, and, if money is involved, according to what they are saying in the court case that is going on, definitely. And £7,000 is quite a lot of money to a layman in Nigeria. I mean, if you have 1 million naira, even though it's a lot of money, but the system might remove that money from you from petrol and crises around there. But we're talking about money and probably some other inducement. So the family is not speaking, but the court is going according to what the man is saying himself, because he's no longer a child, he's an adult according to the UK system. So he would have to speak on himself, not the family speaking on behalf of the court process that is going on right now.
Okay, we'll be following that, and we'll see what the family will try to do our best investigation to see how the family was induced for them to get their son to come into the UK for this purpose. All right then. Now let's finish with the election bit. Now, should it happen that the Southeast decide not to vote at all, because I'm just thinking about your constitution, because when it comes to the Southwest, because there are a mixture of people. I've been to Lagos before, and I know there are a mixture of people, everybody everywhere. So it's not only you talk about Lagos state, and it's not only Yoruba people there. There are very large number of people coming from all, so it will be difficult for you to say, okay, we wouldn't go to vote. So definitely we're going to have some people voting. But if it happens that the people in the Southeast, because of the sit at home and the instructions and everything that has gone on, decide not to vote, will the result of the election be upheld? Because they will say that, well, whatever percentage they are, let's say they are about 20 million or 50 million of Nigerians who decide not to vote, they will still not make a big dent in what is happening across the country. Do you think so?
You're quite right. The Southeast, if we look at the total population in the Southeast today, is not up to the population in the other part of the country, but they also, according to 1 minute, I just want to look at it from, it was actually bringing the Southeast in London. So if we look at the Southeast altogether, the region has a population of about 22 million.
That is just less than 10% of the total.
Yeah, 10%. You're quite right. Yeah. Around 10% of the total population of a country, and we're talking about a very it is a key area. But the Southwest, we're looking at about 32 million as well. The Northwest, is also a big number, but the Northeast and the other part, the middle belt. If election doesn't go as planned in the Southeast, definitely Peter Obi needs a lot of numbers in the North. The way the structure has been, during the colonial era, where they've been able to manipulate the census that gave the North the super numbers that they normally talk about, even though we know the numbers is not there. And if Southeast is now becoming a trouble zone, as they are asking for their right to self-independent, and election probably goes in some area because there will be heavy security, but some areas, because I always say, when we were on the ground during the election period in 2019, there are some local government that I can easily say, individuals will disrupt, and any police will not be there, because they only allow 2 or 3 police officers, and they're probably not even armed. And even if they're armed, they can be disarmed quickly, by a large number of people. So what we're going to see is a lot of local government in the Southeast might probably go out to vote, because there'll be presence of security surrounding that area. But there'll be some remote area that probably election is not going to hold at all, and the government might probably not be interested, or maybe might have to challenge those that wants to force that election not to happen. But remember that the Southeast itself, they've been following the trend of the sit at home. So the instruction that has been given out to some of those dates, they're definitely not going to come out. Would that mean that somebody like Peter Obi that is pushing, or Atiku or Tinubu, are they not going to be bothered that even if they got nothing from the Southeast, they might be now working towards the remaining part of the country?
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Come the 25th, will the election hold or not? Would you go and vote? Have you even got your PVC at all? You are in the uni, you are listening to us. Have you got your hands on the PVC? Are you going to travel down? Do you have the money to even buy or pay for your fare and come down to, let's say, your town to come and vote? Well, that's a question that we'll be following very closely and be watching very, very closely. Yomi, before you go.
Well, Archie take you through the rest of the segment. I will be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow is a very special one because the election is getting closer. But if you still have that Naira note, you can get to the bank. Please do not listen to somebody like El Rufai. Take your money to the bank because nobody guarantee what is going to happen in the next 16 days. So, and even if election is going to go ahead as planned, nobody guarantee that Tinubu will come back. So for now, take the money to the bank and get the new Naira note.
All right, Yummy. We say thank you very, very much for that wonderful update, and we catch up later, sir.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Well, listeners, that has been Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you updates from Nigeria. Well, the question is being posed still by our wonderful, some of our wonderful viewers and the wonderful musician, the Zongo man himself. He's asking the question. Now, if Nigeria knew that they had how many, let's say, 200, let's take an example, 200 billion naira in circulation. Now, they replaced it. They would have replaced 200 billion naira exactly and made sure that it's distributed to the various banks or the states so that it will be then, some will have, get into the system. But if that is not happening and the CBN is saying that, you know what, in conjunction with the federal government, Friday is the last day, and we have somebody who is part of government or who belongs to the party, the ruling party, saying that, you know what, RFI saying that, you know what, don't worry. In our state, just go on, just transact business in with the old currency and the new. Don't worry going to change your money, take your money to the bank. Now, he is not the CBN, he is not the federal, he is not in federal, the president or anything of the sort. But he is advising you that way. Then you should be an illiterate to listen to him and then go on to adhere to what he has said. Because maybe you're understanding, as some are saying on the platform, shine your eyes. You need to open your eyes and shine your eyes. Because this is the directive that is coming. But what do you think? Would the government hearken to it? The Supreme Court ruled yesterday that, the day before yesterday, that the government should not hold on to that extent, the deadline that is tomorrow. We have the Attorney General of the Federal Republic Attorney General also saying that the Supreme Court should not adhere to the petition or the case that have been filed against them. So what do you think is going to happen there? Have you got your Naira? Have you not been able to send it? And I tell you that if you're not able to send that money to the bank and the deadline comes, that means you've lost that money. So you are a millionaire one day, the next day you become a pauper because your money is gone. That's what it means. That's how desperate the situation is. What about communities where they are saying that they don't even have the banks? How are they giving them the money? How are they doing that? Are they distributing money? Are they using it as a vehicle to induce people to vote for them? Well, you want to know more? Make sure that tomorrow you are with us on the update from Nigeria on the morning show, and then the segment for the update of from Nigeria, and we'll be telling you more on that, right? So let me say thank you very much to each and every one of you who are so on. But let's enjoy this music, and I'll be with you this time from the Zongo man. He says, "Where is the dollar?" But replace the dollar with a naira. Huh? Where is the naira? Enjoy it. I'll see you in a bit.
Starr Radio UK.
Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Where is the dollar? Where is the dollar? Where is the dollar?
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur, and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business, but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. Almost hitting 12 o'clock, a few seconds to 12, and it is the morning show. Let me open the lines for you to join in. It is 0208-133-2257 or 5802-08-133-2257 or 58. Now, if you happen to be in the US, Canada, or the Caribbean area, it is 001-718-303-2737. 001-718-303-2737. Also, you can text or WhatsApp us. It is 0753-966-1744. 0753-966-1744. Our Twitter handle is at Starr Radio UK, and email address is info@starradiouk.com. You can also Skype at us. Our Skype ID is Starr Radio UK 1. Starr Radio UK 1. And I'll see you, and then we can have a chat there. But make sure that you make us know your comments or your mind, pertaining to what is going on. Don't sit on the fence, get involved. What about that? Well, Starr Radio UK. Yes. So now let's go on to have a look at some of the other stories that is making the round. We'll bring the program to close at 12:30 because my boss producer is giving me an instructions, and we need to see to. There's supposed to be some updates not here on the system on the from our internet providers. Okay, so yes, so he's alerted me, so we'll have to bring the program to a close at that time so that it doesn't affect the broadcast. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so let's go straight to the African front and some of the other African countries as well, and let's look at what is happening now. Okay, in Mali, the Azawad movements have united to put a bit to pressure the ruling junta. Now, the three main armed movements that make up the coordination of Azawad movement, that the CMA, emerged on Wednesday in Kidal, a northeastern Malian town they have controlled military since 2013. The group includes National Movement for the Liberation of Azawad, the Arab Movement of Azawad, and the High Council for the Unity of Azawad. In concrete terms, the new leadership of the ex-rebels in the north are expecting to put more pressure to the Malian government. A few months ago, the members of the new alliance suspended their participation in the decision-making bodies of the Algiers peace agreement, accusing the Malian state of backing out of the agreement. The coordination of the Azawad movement, a predominantly Tuareg alliance that fought the state for years before signing the peace deal in Algiers in 2015, blamed the ruling military junta for foot dragging. The new movement is already planning with other armed groups involved in the peace process to launch a vast operation to secure the population of northern Mali. So the impasse still goes on. There's no peace that is going to be seen. Looking at the fact that the French has been driven out, the UN chief has also been sacked. Let me put it that way. Told to leave the country, given an ultimatum to leave, and then
with what is happening at the moment, having the Russian mercenaries there, I bet you that war is going to go on. But when two elephants fight, who suffers? Answer that question. Oluola says Yoruba doesn't want or need rally. Yoruba want to occupy their land. Simple. Now he continues to say, you don't know. He's okay. All right, Oluola, thank you very much for your comment there. Okay, he says, and Sunday Igboho are working with Tinubu. We had our, oh my goodness. Well, if you have any evidence, please let us know behind the scenes. Okay, we'll verify that and we'll put it across. All right, Oluola, thank you very, very much. I hope you are doing good. I hope you are doing good. All right, then now let's move on to some other stories making the rounds. Let's move on to other stories making the rounds this morning. Now, South Africa's industrial giants are threatening energy transition, and then why are they doing so? Because the story is saying that South Africa's industrial giants are endangering the African powerhouse energy transition by continuing to defend fossil fuels such as coal and natural gas, the environmental NGO Influence Map said in a report published on Thursday. The study examines the climate policy of 16 companies based in South Africa and 12 industrial lobbies, while nearly 3/4 of the companies surveyed support South Africa's move towards renewable energy. Now, they continue to strongly support the role of coal, as the think tank points out, in the mining sector. The same is true of two economic heavyweights and biggest polluters in Africa's largest industrial power. The state-owned company Eskom produces 90% of the country's electricity, mainly from coal. And the chemical industry, especially SASO, defends the use of natural gas. However, this lobbying puts in danger the climate objectives of the country, regularly classified among the 15 biggest emitters of greenhouse gases on the planet. The NGO criticizes, which also pinpoints not strict enough measures of the government as regards to climate. Now, Eskom and SASO are trying to get through the carbon tax that penalizes large emitters, and South Africa became the first country on the continent to introduce such a measure in 2019, although it remains almost entirely offset by tax breaks. Okay, well, so coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. The MSF has suspended its operation in Burkina Faso after gunmen killed 2 of its staff. The Médecins Sans Frontières has suspended its operation in an area of northwest Burkina Faso where armed assailants killed 2 of its employees on Wednesday. The medical charity said in a statement on the morning of Wednesday, February 8th, a clearly marked Doctors Without Borders vehicle carrying 4 persons medical team on the road between Didogo and Togan, that's northwest, was targeted by armed men who fired on the crew. 2 employees, were killed, while 2 others managed to escape. MSF have said 2 Burkina Faso nationals, the driver and the logistics supervisor, aged 39 and 34 respectively, were killed, MSF said in a statement. The 2 victims of Burkina Bay nationality had been employed by MSF since June 2020, added the NGO, whose members are shocked and outraged by the assassination, according to the MSF president Isabel Deforme, quoted in the statement. This is a deliberate and intentional attack on clearly identified humanitarian team in the context of its medical mission, said Ms. Deforme. Well, this is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's move on straight to Ghana as well. 7 minutes past 12 the time. We've got another 23 minutes to bring the program to a close. Now, fraudulent payment for school replacement traced to Education Minister's access. And someone would say, a fraudulent payment made for the replacement of a student
in Category A school in 2022 was traced to the login access of the Education Minister, Dr. Yao Osei Edichum. This is contained in a testimony given by Professor Kwesi Opoku Amankwa, who was the Director General of the Ghana Education Service at the time of the placement, and the Ministry of Education's investigative committee sitting to probe alleged corruption in school placement. Professor Opoku Amankwa was also one of the only 2 persons with unfettered access to computer system and could place or approve placement of students into Category A schools. Access to protocol placement in the most prestigious senior high schools was limited to the Minister of Education and the Director General of the GS to curb the payment of money for placement into Category A schools. The restriction did not stop the act of corruption in Ghana's most sought after schools, resulting in the setting of a committee by the Ministry of Education. The committee was set up after the Ministry of National Security wrote to complain about the allegation of corruption in the system. So who did it? Is it the minister, or did somebody use his login details to log in and then do the deed? Is that what happened? Well, it's all Starr Radio UK. 9 minutes past the top of the hour. Now, one other story that is making the rounds this morning in Ghana pertains to the Attorney General accusing the Auditor General of breaking the laws or the rules. Now, anti-graft campaigner Vitus Azim has advised the Auditor General not to bow to intimidation from the Attorney General over the release of the audit report on COVID-19 expenditures. Now, this comes on the back of the Attorney General's accusing the Auditor General of breaching the Constitution by releasing the audit report into the public domain. The Attorney General Godfrey Dami, in a letter to the Auditor General Mr. Johnson Ekwamwasiedu, quoting Article 187, subsection 5, indicated that the report should have been released to Parliament before getting to the public. Now, Mr. Dami added that Article 187, subsection 6 of the Constitution also stated that Parliament should debate on the report and, where necessary, set a committee to deal with any matters arising from it. Now, commenting this morning, Mr. Azim stated that the Attorney General has no basis to fault Auditor General over the release of the report. And as I did say earlier on during the program, the end justifies the means. Now, this is not the first time the Auditor General's report have been made public before it was discussed by Parliament. So, I don't know why all of a sudden the Attorney General is concerned about this particular one. It is because of the embarrassing revelation that it has made. Now, has Parliament complained, and shouldn't it be left with the Speaker to call the Auditor General to order if he is doing the wrong thing? So why is the Attorney General not complaining to the Speaker rather than writing directly to the Auditor General? Now, when the Auditor General works, nobody has a right to do anything to the work, Mr. Azim stated. He continued, the Attorney General cannot give a directive to the Auditor General if he has a concern. He should write to the Speaker of Parliament and not directly to the Auditor General. Maybe that's the aim, but I don't think the Auditor General should bow to that intimidation. And that is quite a profound statement that has been made there. Now, because with everything that seems to be happening, now the cat has bolted out of the bag already. So, I mean, what more? We know that people cannot account for monies that was, given to them. Various government agencies that were involved in it cannot account for what they use the money for. And it's all a mess up, proper messed up or mashed up, whichever is appropriate. And they reckon that, well, by saying all these things, then everything should be all right. Even right to intimidate him. After all, the public knows. So it's the public who are going to be the judges of what has gone on. You say maybe you brought some food and stuff to this particular area and you fed everybody there. Now people there are the ones who are going to say that no, we didn't get anything of the sort. Maybe whatever they brought us was not even as per that value that they are saying that they spent. Well, so what do you think about that? Should the Auditor General just say, okay, I'm sorry, boss, I'm going to now retrieve or withdraw this publication or this report, and then we'll go to Parliament for them to discuss it, and then we can come back to it. As I said earlier on, the cat has already bolted. Now, what do you think? It's All Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right. Olula putting some more stories there. Yes, reports there. He's saying a few things about the Yoruba Nation there. So, as I said, yes, if he has any information, he'll be providing us, and then we can go into it. All right, then. Now, let's move on to other parts of the world and look at the stories making the round, because we've got another 17 minutes to bring the program to a close. Well. Starting from North Korea. Now, when it seems that things are a bit quiet, suddenly he pops up and ruggles his tail and throw a bit of tantrum, and everybody thinks, now let's listen to him. Now, the story is saying that, well, North Korea has shown its largest display ever of intercontinental ballistic missiles. A number of analysts say could potentially challenge the U.S. defense system. Now, about a dozen long-range ICBM were shown at Wednesday's military parade. Now, leader Kim Jong-un was seen at the midnight parade with his young daughter elevated to his side. Now, Kim Jong-un's appearance has fueled speculation she is being positioned as the successor. The number of long-range missiles shown in the parade has prompted concern. Analysts such as a number of analysts say such a number of missiles, which can, in theory, hit as far as the U.S. mainland, could potentially overwhelm U.S. nuclear defense if each missile carried multiple warheads. Now, North Korea's media did not provide detail, but said such an arsenal demonstrated the country's mighty war deterrence and counterattack capabilities. Now, pictures published by the North Korean media on Thursday morning appeared to show more than a dozen ICBM rolling through the center square of Pyongyang, accompanied by an army of foot soldiers. Now, this is a country where they do things simultaneously. They all cry. They cry simultaneously. They clap simultaneously. They laugh and jump around simultaneously. And I think this is a proper remote-controlled country. Well, but in such a place where people are hungry, there's poverty. Some will say that it's because of sanctions that are against them. That is why they seem to be going through whatever they are going through. But do you think that going through such sanctions, you should be using all your finances or your means to rather be building arms instead of getting your people, to something to eat or living a comfortable life? Somebody say that, well, if you don't fight for it, you don't get it. So they are doing everything possible so that they will not be intimidated. But what do you think? Interesting one. Geopolitics for you. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Kudos to them. Well, now let's move on straight to some other stories making the rounds pertaining to Ukraine. Now, yesterday we had Zelensky in the UK in number 10 Downing Street and moving around. Now, today he's in Brussels. The Ukrainian leader is visiting Brussels, having urged the leaders of France, Germany, and the UK to provide fighter jets for the war against Russia. Now, Europe will always remain free as long as we are together, Volodymyr Zelensky told the European Parliament. He was also due to attend a summit of EU leaders on his second trip abroad since the war began. Ahead of the meeting, several leaders stressed that a decision on warplanes will be a collective move. Now, Poland's Prime Minister said his country could only act within the entire formation of NATO, while Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte
said the issue had to be discussed behind closed doors. The Kremlin warned on Thursday that the line between direct and indirect Western involvement in the conflict was disappearing. What do they mean by disappearing? By giving, they are not putting their boots on the ground. They are giving the support that Ukraine hasn't got so that they can stand against you. Well, what do you think? Well. Mr. Zelensky was given a standing ovation at the European Parliament, where President Roberta Metsola called on EU states to consider quickly Kyiv's request for the jets Ukraine needed. In his speech, Mr. Zelensky repeatedly linked Ukraine to a European way of life. Ukraine has applied to join the EU and is urging the bloc's leader to throw its weight behind a swift course to accession. Which usually takes many years, so maybe they'll give them a special waiver. Now, Ukraine is going to be a member of the European Union. He told MEPs, together with Europe, he said Ukrainians were defending themselves against the biggest anti-European force of the modern world. The Ukrainian leader had earlier traveled from Paris with France Emmanuel Macron, where he had also held talks with Germany Olaf Scholz before visiting Paris. He had been assured by UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak that nothing was off the table. Mr. Zelensky said Germany and France had the potential to be the game changers in the war. The sooner Ukraine received the heavy long-range weapons and modern planes, the quicker this Russian aggression will end, he explained. But the question is, at times I ask myself, if you do this, you should do it behind closed doors. You don't need to bring it to the public domain. Because if I'm an aggressor, okay, and you're telling me that you are going to Francis to go and get some arms to attack me, and then I also go to my brother Felix and say, Felix, you got the bigger ones. I need some more. So they could go to North Korea, they could go to China, and then to prepare themselves to come and face you squarely. And so I don't know. Maybe because I am not a security analyst, that's why I'm not getting it. Maybe they bring it to the public domain, and maybe somehow some psychological warfare going to take place. But if Russians are following these stories, they would talk about the fact that the West are ganging up against them. They wouldn't talk about the fact that Russia has been an aggressor on Ukraine. No. But what do you think? Well, it's all Starr Radio, okay. 10 minutes for the end of the program. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, in reaction to what is happening in Ukraine as well, there's one story that faced some criticism. Roger Waters, Pink Floyd star, UN speech criticized by Ukraine. Now, Pink Floyd star Roger Waters has used a speech to the United Nations to repeat his controversial claim that Russia's invasion of Ukraine was provoked. The musician was invited by Russia to address the UN Security Council. He called for a ceasefire and condemned Russia's illegal invasion, but also denounced provocators in the West who he claimed were responsible. Ukrainian ambassador Sergei Kislatitsia called Waters' speech another break in the wall of a Russian disinformation. Now, Russia asked Waters to address the 15-member Security Council following an interview with a German newspaper in which he praised Vladimir Putin's leadership. However, the 79-year-old singer who appeared with his dog surprised his sponsors by modifying his position on the war. Now, the invasion of Ukraine by the Russian Federation was illegal. I condemn it in the strongest possible terms, he said in a video link. But went on further to say, also, the Russian invasion of Ukraine was not unprovoked. So, I also condemn the provocateurs in the strongest possible terms. Now, rather than representing the view of Russia, the musician said he was speaking on behalf of the 4 billion or so brothers and sisters, the majority of the Earth's population. He continued, so what do the voiceless millions have to say? They say, thank you for hearing us today. We are many who do not share in the profits of the war industry. Wow. I think Russia will be regretting calling him to make a statement on their behalf
to the UN. But what do you think about all that? It is Star Radio UK. Well, let's move on to Turkey. Now, more than 17,000 people are now known to have died after Monday's earthquake in southern Turkey and northern Syria. Now, without shelter, water, fuel, or electricity, the World Health Organization fears many survivors could yet lose their lives. It says there is a danger there will be a secondary disaster which may cause harm to many more people than the initial quake. Now, 6 UN lorries carrying aid have now crossed the border from Turkey into Syria in the first international help people have had. The rescuers in both countries are continuing their painstaking work, but hopes are fading for the many still trapped under rubble. Now, British charities have launched an appeal to raise funds for the affected. Well, and some people are saying that it's taking them about 15 hours journey to get to Istanbul. Talk less get into the epicenter of what has happened. But what do you think? Do you think the government acted slowly or they acted quick enough? But when things like this happen, though we might have had rehearsals upon rehearsals, yet implementing it is a different ball game. It's a different ball game. Do you think that is what is happened there? What do you think? Let me hear from you in the next 6 minutes before we bring the program to a close. Now to the final segment here in the UK and what is happening here. Now, firefighters in the UK were supposed to have gone on a strike, but because of a pay offer of 7%, they decided to postpone the strike. The strike dates have been put on hold while union members are balloted over an improved pay offer. As to whether the 7% will now stop them totally is another story. But what do you think about all that? Now, someone election deadline delayed by a year. Then the government would delay the requirement for forming an executive and holding an assembly election in Northern Ireland for another year. The Secretary of State is introducing legislation that will push the timetable back to 18th of January 2024. Chris Heaton Harris has already previously delayed the legal duty on him. He is due to inform the Stormont parties about the plan when he holds all-party talks with them later. In a written update to Parliament, he said the bill will provide a single retrospective extension of the executive formation period for 1 year. That will mean that if the parties are unable to form an executive before the 19th of January 2024, I would again fall under a duty to hold an assembly election within 12 weeks. The legislation will also enable the government to bring this new period to an early end and move to elections sooner if necessary. But well, when some people saw that, whoa, this time around we are losing, they decide now to cry foul to the system that they had agreed somehow or somewhat with to keep their themselves in power. And when they found out that they've lost it, now they decided if Sinn Féin are the ones who are have won, then we are not going to accept that. These are conditions that we put across that the UK government has hearkened to. But they managed to agree on that when they were in the helm of affairs there. What about that? Well. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, the final story talks about ambulance waits. And it says ambulance waits down by nearly an hour in a month. What has taken place? Has beds been provided in the wards or in the hospitals? Or have they provided more ambulances? Or has the staff capacity been increased? Now, ambulance crews reach emergencies such as heart attacks and strokes 1 hour quicker in January than December in England, figures have shown. They took 32 minutes on average compared with more than 90 minutes the month before. The target is 18 minutes, but January's average was the quickest for 19 months. A&E waiting times also improved, with just over a quarter of patients waiting longer than 4 hours, down from more than a third in December. Now, flu and COVID hospital admission rates have started falling since the new year. But Society for Acute Medicine
President Dr. Tim Cooksley said waiting times remain intolerable. He highlighted the waits the sickest and most frail were facing for a bed on a ward. Now, nearly 4 out of every 10 patients waited over 4 hours on trolley and in corridors. The fundamental problem remains a significant shortage of workforce, leading to woefully inadequate inpatient bed and social care capacity, Dr. Cooksley added. And this is where I will bring the program to a close. And as I said, our connectivity providers are going to take over the airwaves, and therefore will not be able to continue further. So we'll bring the program to a close for today. And I promise you tomorrow we're going to be coming your way with the Friday edition of the morning show. But that will be after you listen to this wonderful tune. And it is from Just Ash. And she says, "No woman, no cry." So wherever you are, have a top of the day. Enjoy yourself. But you know what? If you are in any of the African states, or those of you in Turkey and all those places, please keep safe. And I'll see you all tomorrow. It's been me, Archie, saying bye-bye for now.
Shed no tears, no woman, no cry. Said I remember when we used to sit in the government yard and trenched out, about observing the hypocrites. Mingle with the good people with me. Good friends we have and good friends we've lost along the way.
Thanks for listening.
This great future, you can't forget your past. So dry your tears, I say. I remember when we used to sit in the government yard and trenched out, and then Georgie would make the fire light as it was